Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to. Oh shit, of course, I don't have. It's fine. Welcome to Let's Have a Fefe, Season 11, Episode 26. If you can believe that shit, I cannot believe we are still that far into doing this. I didn't think we'd be doing this for like 10 months, much less 10 years, but here we are. We are still your Wednesday night conversation. I'm Freddy Prince Charming, and my special guest host, filling in for Felicia this evening, is Jero the Jester. Yay!
Yes, hello. Great to have me on.
And I'm excited. I am super excited. For those of you following along at home, if you would like to support us, you can get exclusive content on our Patreon at patreon.com/let's have a Fifi. We'd like to thank our current patrons: Brandon, Chris and Michelle, D, Drake Jensen, Casey Starr, Carrie and Corey, Kim, Joan, Leanne, Nicole, and Shannon. And of course, a very special thank you to our sponsors this evening, or this season rather. Success Boutique, LC Designs, and Wigs of a Kind. Success Boutique has officially closed their doors after 12 years of business, which really sucks for me because now I'm like, I don't know where to get my shit. But we still appreciate them, and most of my face is still stuff that I got from them. So we're gonna keep calling them a sponsor because like everything in my makeup stuff has basically come from Success Boutique over the years. So we definitely still appreciate them. If you would sponsor us or tip us or whatever the fuck, you can do that at tip us. What am I saying? PayPal.me/let's have a Fifi. It is one of those nights. I apologize. It is fine. And if you are feeling brave, you can text LHAF to 602-730-7379. And Felicia will send you whatever it is that Felicia is going to send you. Could be updates to shows, could be nudes. I don't know. No idea. Not a clue. But it's fine. Totally fine. And if you are on the Facebook, I guess we're still doing the Facebook stars thing, so you can click the little stars button, and we can earn a few bucks that way too, which is exciting. Thank you, of course, to folks like DJ Image, Eddie Omega, Emily, Tony the Tiger Mattia, and Laura Renfro, who have already sent us a bunch of stars. And if y'all can believe this, we are over 10,000 downloads now on our podcast, which I'm super excited about. I who knows, like, knew that we'd get to 10 downloads, much less 10,000. So yay, 10,000 downloads. Whoopee. So Jero, how was your weekend? What have you been up to?
So oddly enough, this past weekend was actually probably the most low key weekend I've had in like a year. I'm in that in between spot where I'm leaving Renaissance Festival stuff and I'm going into circuit stuff. And there's a tiny little window where I don't have any gigs or anything. So all I really did was I took one of my my newest acts out that are coming with us to Fan Fusion into a show we have next week. He needed some boots for his costume, so I took him to where I get my shoes and spent the whole day pretty much shopping for leather boots all day and just talking shop about the show. But super casual, easy.
Okay, but where do you get your shoes?
So for clown stuff, I go to Cowtown Boots. I just get simple, like basic pullover leathers, easiest, like, and they come in all kinds of different colors. And you'd be surprised. I have found some of my favorite, most ridiculous boots at that store. Like it's
Huh.
I almost walked out with a pair that were like diamond stitched leather dancer boots. That kind of like that has like the grippy heel and the slidey front part. Because I wanted to be ringmaster boots, and I put those on. And I thought I'm gonna eat shit if I wear these though, at least once during a set. So I just had to pass on them. But they were like silver, black. I was looking at them going, I could put purple leather paint on these and throw some gems on them. Would have been really cool. But other than that, that's about all I did was just shoe shopping. Kept it simple.
You know what? I don't think I've ever stepped into a Cowtown Boots ever.
Oh, it's
Ever.
it's
I feel like now I may need to do so.
You have to go. It's like almost a ghost town. It's like nobody there. It's one of those things where when I first went like a year ago, I was convinced because I grew up on like 35th Avenue. I was convinced the store was closed and it was just there. Nobody was there. Parking lot's always empty. It's next to a sketchy as hell Quick Trip. So I thought it was abandoned, and then I saw some one dude go in and out, and I was like, that's open." I went in there, and their whole back was just a shitload of boots on one side of the back, men's way in the back, female on the side, and then like shirts and hats and just other yeehaw stuff.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean
I
it's
may have to go check it out one
yeah.
of
I
these
mean
days.
that's 35th Avenue in a nutshell, though. It looks abandoned until you try and open the door.
Right. Yeah, I knew someone that used to say nothing good ever happens in the avenues. So
Yeah, it's fair. That checks out.
So for those of you who don't know, Jero is kind of a jack of all trades. Like you can find Jero at the Renaissance Festival doing juggling things and other stupid human tricks, circusy stuff, fan fusion, like all the things. So like that, yeah. So if you ever wander into things like, you know, the Renaissance Festival, as one is wont to do in the beginning months when it's not blistering hot, if you see on the schedule Jerome King of Fools, tis the one and the same.
That's me.
So so it's, you know, he does all the things.
Yeah,
all the things,
and it's one of
good at
my
what he
favorite
does,
roles
so.
too, because like that's since I don't wear face paint for that role. Usually I'll do that role for like 2 months of the show, and then like 3 months beforehand for preseason doing like promotional appearances and TV and whatnot. By the time I get to my off season, I'll just be at like a store or something, and I'll once in a while get someone kind of going like this move at me, and I'll just squint back, and they're going, "Where do I know you from?" And I'm like, "Renaissance Festival," and they go, "Maybe," and I go, "Fat guy in orange," and they're like, oh, "It's that guy! It's the big dude with the goofy hat!" And that's when they're all like, "Oh, we've seen your show, and you know what else do you do? You don't travel?" I'm like, nope.
That's funny. I get the head cock all the time too, and
Mhm.
people are trying to figure out where they know me.
You're just
It's like,
watching them do the math for a second, you know?
right. They're like, "Ah." Of course, I get recognized in the weirdest places, like
Mhm.
random people's weddings or like the Asian market or like very, very strange
Yeah,
random
it's
places.
never where you
So
want to be recognized either.
it's always like, right. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay. My weekend was interesting. Friday, we actually like, I think I had downtime for like the first time in weeks, literally. Like, it wasn't a lot. It was in the end. So my partner and I played some Mario Kart.
Nice.
That was how I spent my evening on Friday. Like my partner and I, we did the Mario Kart. We got one of our friends to jump in. Actually, it was one of our friends that was working at the Blonde Swan
Oh,
during the Ren Fair.
yeah.
Right. So she popped on. We played a little bit of Mario Kart there. We cussed out her teenager because that's what one does when one is playing Mario Kart.
Hmm.
Saturday was busy. I had a wedding rehearsal in the afternoon, and then sex trivia Saturday night. And we have determined this is facts, y'all, facts. That along with the genitals and things, the organ that also swells when one is the inside of the organ that also swells when sexually aroused are the abs. Um, we're just gonna go with it. So this is I'm going to go with that. I am not overweight by any means. I am just constantly in a state of arousal. Therefore, my abs are swollen. Swollen abs.
That makes sense to me.
That's just what it is. Just swollen abs. Swollen.
Yeah.
So
Just a
that's just what that is.
healthy coat of ready
So
to go.
if any Great. So if anybody thinks that you know that I am, you know, overweight, no, I am simply aroused, and my abs therefore are showing that and presenting them to you. So Felicia just about died. Died. That was she had to stop and find a tissue and keep things from melt. Like it was funny as hell. It was fantastic. Sunday was the wedding. that I was officiating. I enjoy officiating weddings because like they pay me for like 20 minutes worth of work, essentially, is what it boils down to.
Same.
Um, but I'm like, it's fine. I ended up now, mind you, I'm grateful that they fed me. Wedding food, of course, is always a little like, I don't think I know anybody that has ever left a wedding going, wow, I'm really satisfied. No, everybody leaves a wedding and goes find a fucking burrito. Like,
Mhm.
that's just what it is, right? So I am grateful that they fed me and that they didn't give me like a vendor meal, which is usually a fucking sandwich or some shit. Like I was actually able to eat the actual food, which was kind of nice. Um, the table that they had me at was interesting. I feel like I was at the table where they're like, well, I don't know where else to put these people, so we're going to put them at this table. I had three of the groom's friends who he'd known forever. Like he was playing, I think, basketball online with them, like on the PlayStation for like 13 something years. Like since they were like before they were 18. Like he's known these kids since they were like 16. Like he's known them a long time. They'd never met in person. None of them had ever met in person. But he invited because he'd known them for over a decade. He invited him to the wedding, so it was like, yeah,
It's friendship. Friendship.
um, right. One of them had his girlfriend, and then an uncle who obviously wasn't, uh, he wasn't, a good enough uncle to be like with the rest of the family.
Just that
So they put him at
we'll
the
put a chair
table.
for you somewhere, kind of uncle.
Right. And then he was there with his daughter, who would have been the groom's cousin. But everybody thought that his daughter was his date. Um, I, in fact, wasn't entirely sure either until he said that, oh no, this is my daughter. Like, ooh, cool,
Awkward.
cool, cool. Right. One of the okay, so when they brought out the salad, it was a Caesar salad with like a piece of like French bread that had been like toasted with some cheese on it, like a crouton, right? It was a
Mhm.
larger crouton, right? So they bring out this Caesar salad with this little crouton, and one of the friends thought that the crouton was hash browns.
Hmm.
The uncle thought it was fish. I'm like, are y'all new to salad? Like, do you not understand how salads work? No one's ever going to give you hash browns or fish with a salad.
If your bread looks
Like,
like meat, that's a problem.
it didn't. It literally just looked like maybe like garlic bread with cheese on it. I'm like, you've never. Are you new to? Is it the salad or the bread that's confusing you? Which one are you new to? Because like, it's very strange. It's very. I'm not. It was. Um. And then it was sort of a buffet style, but you could basically just go around once to the around the like they called you up by table and you just went around once and they slapped this giant white fish, this coconut crusted white fish, which frankly could have been about this big.
Mm.
This was unnecessary. It was bland and had no flavor. It took up like 2/3 of the plate. There was no fucking reason for it. But they had like a little prime rib section, but like it was. I don't know. I guess the guy didn't like me because he just sort of shaved off two little pieces and threw it on my plate, whereas everybody else got like good slices of it. I was like, "Fuck you,
Mhm.
dude. Whatever." But the friend who thought that the crouton was hash browns also then proceeded to eat the prime rib with his fingers. Now, prime rib not a great finger food.
No.
It's just not.
Mm-mm.
And the dude had like his plate pushed slightly forward and his napkin like in front of the plate and was literally like eat and then he'd like take a chunk and like pop and then like lick his fingers and like wipe it on the napkin. I'm like,
Did he like not have utensils? Because I've seen people who like don't get a fork and are too anxious to ask for one. So they're just
oh
like,
no
I'm
no.
just gonna
Oh
eat with
no.
hands.
Oh no, he had utensils. We all had the utensils and he was just choosing to not use them.
Fun.
And then the uncle, bless his heart, kept trying to because the way that the tables were set, um they had like, the big like metal chargers that you put the plates on at the table, like
Yeah,
they're usually like gold or silver or red or
right.
whatever fucking color, right? You put the plates on top of it, right? That is not a plate, that's a charger. So the uncle kept took his charger up to the buffet because he thought that was the plate. It was very, very
Mm,
interesting. And then the daughter said she was 25. Thought she was like 35, which is why I assumed that she was his date and not his daughter.
that makes sense.
I Yeah, it was interesting. It was a very interesting evening. I made friends with the DJ. I think he might have been gay, but I'm not sure. Gay-ish,
Gay
gay
adjacent.
adjacent,
Gay
something.
adjacent.
I not entirely sure. I think he was gay. Think he was gay. I'm mad that I didn't get any fucking cake because they had decided like they're gonna do all the fucking dances first before they cut the fucking cake. I'm like, all right, it's really late. I have to go home now.
Oh,
I still didn't get any cake. I was really mad about that. That's the only reason why I go to weddings. I just want the fucking
that's
cake. But
that's the main reason. Like I've officiated a few, and like you want to know what the spread is, and most importantly, what's the cake? Take some home, you know.
like they had the cake, it was sitting
Yeah.
there. It was really pretty. Like they had them cut like a piece from behind so they could like get the pictures and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, "Ooh, look, they're gonna cut the cake. This is."
Could have just swiped that and gone.
I should have. I should have just
Which I
snuck
have,
back
which I have
there.
done.
I would have been like, man, I'm just gonna cut this fucking piece of. Ugh.
Right? Just jab and go.
I was so mad. I was so mad, but
Mm.
it's fine. So, speaking of queer adjacent folks, people who may or may not be, totally out, that brings me to my tip this evening, and my tip this evening is actually inspired by a recent situation, I should say, maybe that my partners had to had to deal with. So here's the thing: we all know people who aren't totally out in one way or another. Whether it's their orientation, their gender, their relationship type, whatever it is. Like we all know somebody that isn't flying that flag high 24/7. Like whatever, and that's fine. We are all at different points in our journey, whether it's, learning where we are as far as our gender or, who we like to get naked with or whatever. I get it. Totally get it. And, okay, but here's the thing though. If you are out pretty much everywhere and with everyone, which many of us are, um, it's dating someone who isn't can be difficult. And I know in a lot of ways for a lot of people, um, it can kind of be a deal breaker too, and which is fine. Everybody has that, it's like, well, if I've worked this hard, I can't date somebody that is still in the closet and whatever. Like I that's fine. Like everybody has their deal breakers, and that could be one of them. I'm not generally a fan of dating people that aren't out because of that kind of reason. I'm like, I can't be somebody's like dirty little secret. Not going to work well for me.
It almost feels like,
And
with like
that's
those kind of relationships, it's, trying to follow those rules can be almost detrimental. Not disrespecting their person, but like if you're having to go through all that extra fluff of, almost a hidden relationship, sometimes it makes it harder on like you specifically, and thinking about yourself in relationships sometimes has to happen.
right. And I mean, we say that all the time. It's like, no. And when it comes to boundaries, it's like boundaries have nothing to do with you. Boundaries are all about me. This is not
Mm,
something I'm willing to do. And that's, the here's the thing. So if you are out, you don't get to force someone else to be out just to accommodate you.
mhm.
You have to respect that, okay, this person isn't there yet, this person isn't ready, and that means that then you're just gonna it is what it is, So you don't get to just be like, okay, you get to come out because I'm out and I'm not going to make this not out. So in order to accommodate me, you have to be out. But at the same token, if you're not out, you can't automatically expect potential partners to put themselves back in the proverbial closet for you.
Yeah, both
So
sides have to
some
be comfortable.
examples. Right. Like I'm not if someone's like, "Oh, well, I can't let anybody know that, you're trans, so you have to, we have to tone down your social media or whatever." I'm like, that's not
Red
going to work for
flag,
me.
yeah. Yeah.
That's not going
Anytime
to
they
work for me.
say the word tone down when talking about you, it's like that's
Right.
almost a full shut off.
Right.
Is like, okay, you
Mhm.
already want to muffle what I'm doing or what I'm going to be. That begs the question, do you like this version of me? Do you like me for me, or do you like the
Right.
idea of having your version of me?
Right. That's exactly it. So, some examples for folks that may be like, "What are you even talking about?" So, okay. Say you are gay. You meet someone who is also gay, but they're only gay when they're out at the bar. So in other public settings or with family or with friends at work, they're not. They are very much in the closet. They are very much, they are straight acting with gigantic air quotes around things. Um, they just, the only time that they are themselves, honestly, authentic is when they're out at a gay bar because they figure that they're not going to run into anybody, which then puts you in the situation of where if you're in a relationship with this person, you have to be okay with just being the friend that tags along at family gatherings or whatever, or not even going at all. Like, oh, okay, well, it's Thanksgiving. Okay, I'll see you later. It's like, okay. Dinners or whatever in public places may not even be on the table because somebody might see you and somebody might then assume that you're gay if you're having dinner with this other person who is more out and more obviously gay. Again, I'm using very large air quotes around these things here, people. But you know what I mean? Like, God forbid that, somebody see like two men eating out together, because if you see two men sitting at dinner, then they must obviously be gay. Another example is, say your partner is trans and is very public about their transition. That would be someone like me. They haven't
Same.
erased their past from their social media. I haven't done that either. They do a lot of public speaking. And maybe you are also trans, but you haven't started any like real sort of transition yet. It's still, that you're trans, but nobody else does. Your partner uses your preferred name and your correct pronouns, but you don't want them using them around your work or your family. You're also worried that someone may clock your partners, which could make them question you. In a plethora of ways. If they clock them as trans, maybe they'll think that you're gay or that you're a lesbian or that, you're some other freak because you happen to be, you have a weird fetish because you're dating this trans person over here. Or another example is, say that you're poly and you're open about it with, pretty much everyone. Like, maybe not so much at work because that can be a little bit tricky when oh shit, we lost Jero. Where did Jero go? Oh, there's Jero. Jero came back.
Okay, that was weird
There we go.
for a second.
We lost you. There you go.
Whew,
Yeah.
that was close.
All right,
I was
so
still following along. I'm just like,
you just you hit the wrong button. It's all right. It happens. Don't worry.
all good.
All right, so you're poly, and you're open about it with pretty much everyone. Just work, maybe, because work is a little bit, whatever. And so you meet someone, whether it's on a dating app, whether it's at a poly meetup, whether it's at a conference or whatever. You talk to them, you go on a few dates. They happen to mention that they have their parents living with them, which is fine. Lord knows, God, in this economy, you have to have 18 roommates just to be able to afford rent. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking get it, right? But then they mention that their parents or their in-laws or their family member or whatever it is are either super conservative or they're really religious or maybe they're just really fucking judgy.
Mhm.
So they haven't told them that they're poly. That can create issues because It's like, all right, so does that mean
Here. Okay, I was close.
Jero keeps hitting the wrong button? Um,
Hands are over here
so
now.
that so that could be, that can create issues because, if you're living with family and you want, if you're poly or whatever, and you want your partner to be able to hang out, it's like, all right, well, then there's rules, or do I have to just pretend to be a friend when I'm over there, or does that mean you can only come over to my house? Like, there's different, it creates issues, and it puts people in a very difficult spot.
It really
And
robs from the
again, I'm gonna
balance too.
say, right,
You know,
right. um
you make one
and
person feel like
I'm
they're
gonna
not as important as the other when you have to play that many games.
right, then you end up with weird hierarchy, or
Mm-hmm.
it just, which I will say again, there's nothing wrong with being closeted. We all have different reasons for not telling or for being openly authentic. It everybody's at a different spot. Not everybody is, hey, here are all my flags and I'm just going to fly them, and that's fine. It may be that, maybe you need more time to be more comfortable with yourself. Maybe it could, if you happen to be like military or something along those lines, whatever your reasoning, it's yours and it's valid. But what isn't valid is automatically expecting folks who are out to be able to hide who they are or hide their relationship with you because of your not being out or being fully
Yeah.
comfortable with who you are yet. And, you know, their prerogative is to be like, you know what, I'm not able to do that. You may like somebody, you may think that they are a great conversationalist, you may think that they're really fucking cute, you may love spending time with them, but if spending time with them means compromising yourself, that's a hard no for a lot of people, and that is okay too. And did what
I'm
stop touching things.
gonna stand just like this. I keep putting my hands down, and then it freaks out. I'm just gonna stay like this. It's fine. I'm just posing for
Just
dominance. It's fine. This is my Beavis and Butthead
practice your mime.
impersonation.
You're in a box right now. You're in a
I,
box. You're in a
I
box. You
do
can't get
that.
out of the
Yeah,
box.
this is fine. Just gonna stay right
I
here.
mean, like I said, personally, I don't think I could date anybody who wasn't out. I don't think I could date somebody that needed to be, discreet. I've done way too much self work to be able to live authentically. Like
Wasn't even a button that time. I'm just standing here. But I'm hearing what you're saying though. As having a hard time dating someone like that, and to jump in on that before it freaks out on me again, is on the other side of that, I can offer the perspective of, at one point I actually was that person who was like closeted and didn't want to be so openly about it. I had a hard time like dating as well because fans of that idea until I was comfortable with myself. It really was kind of a non-issue as far as like finding anybody until I finally realized, it's kind of everyone being collateral damage to my own journey was kind of not fair. Until I found who I have now, my husband got me really, really a lot better at being a lot more open about it. So,
and that's that's fantastic, and it, it's and it's always hard. It's always that weird sort of fine line, because you don't want to tell people, well, you have to be out and you have to be open and you have to be, whatever. But if you're somebody that has really, really put in that work, and, it took me 35 years to come out as trans and, start transitioning.
mm-hmm.
I am not going back in the fucking closet. Like, I am not going to pretend like I am outspoken about it. I educate about it. Like, I do all these things. Look, for fuck's sake, I've got trans
Yeah.
shit all over my walls. Like, I'm not gonna take these things down because it's gonna make somebody uncomfortable or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, no, that's, and you don't want to date me because that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not
Taking
going to
the
chase
identity
you.
forward is way more important.
Right. I mean, like, if that's if you have a problem with that, that's something that you probably need to look at inside yourself, then have it
Mhm.
be my problem, because it's not my fucking problem.
Yeah, yeah, keeping
So,
it front facing as you go forward with your identity makes a lot more sense, like, and that's something that, I'm incorporating more and more into performances too, like, I'm really stoked about that, so, we had the Pride Day at the Renaissance Fair
hmm
that you're part of now.
yep,
We've already got the date for next year's already set, and, you've already seen, like, my costume that I wear out there. I'm actually having created right now a one-to-one recreation of the entire costume in by Pride colors. Just be
that's
as
fucking fantastic.
and go super loud about it.
I think that's fucking fantastic.
I just want more
So,
excuses for purple coats. What can I say?
just sort of on that subject, the one thing that I found so interesting at the Ren Fair this year, and I think I noticed it more than ever, is that because I think we went 3 weekends.
Mm.
Like, we went 3 weekends to the Ren Fair, and every time we went, oh my god, the amount of like right wingers wearing like homosexual shirts and shit. I was like, do you understand where you even are?
You should see some of the like because when I'm not on stage, I'm also doing the promotional coordinating for that kind of stuff. You should see some of the comments we get. Like what's funny is we'll post all kinds of our sponsors and stuff because we want to acknowledge the sponsors that support the
Right.
festival, which is great. One of our sponsors is Bud Light, and that went off with just everybody who felt the need to have a really strong stupid opinion because they don't want to realize where they are in 2023 at a Renaissance festival where things like Pride Days thrive. It was when I got
Also,
the position
I
as
mean, for fuck's sake, if it's any kind of theater, the chances are there's a good chunk of folks involved. They're going to be queer in some form.
most, yeah, and most Renaissance festival performers will tell you that queer performance of any kind dates further back than the Renaissance. It just became even more prevalent there. 17th century France, Italy. Just pick a country. Just shuffle the pack and pick a card. It's very commonplace in history as far back as ancient Greece. So when we do it, it makes perfect sense. But everybody wants to bring their opinion, outdated yet modern opinion, whatever, into the festival and go off about it. And
I
it,
just,
it
I,
almost always happens online.
I just think it's funny. Like, I was cracking up, like, just the whole time. Like, I'm walking around and I'm looking at these people that, like, they're all wearing, what is that? There's that stupid brand now that's like all the amosexuals wear, and it's, I don't know, it's got
Uh, I know what
the
you're talking about, but I can't remember the name. It's got like the muskets and
I
shit on it,
can't.
you know?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're
It's the one
talking
that
about.
they all have now. It's like their
Yeah.
fucking uniform.
Yeah, it was
And I don't know how many versions of that shirt I saw all over the fucking Ren Fair.
yeah,
And I'm
when
like, and I'm looking at, like, even the vendors and stuff have like rainbow things,
mhm.
and I'm like,
Yeah,
do you even
it's
know where you are? Why are you
exactly,
here? Like, I'm sorry that we didn't give you a drag story hour to protest. Like,
right?
you got to bring your shit
Which
here. Like,
which we have talked about. um, when we publicly repackaged our Pride Day, which was a huge project, when I went from being an entertainer, but an entertainer who also helps build the festival's image. One of the things I really insisted on was I wanted to make Pride Day a bigger deal again because it kind of fell to the wayside a little bit because we used to rely on Echo magazine back in the day, and
right,
then Echo
right.
folded, and we didn't really have a presence to an extent. And that was when I wanted to relaunch it with a new face on it, using drag performers I know, personalities across the queer community, you, Ben Havoc, Justin Siders, Titanic, all you guys. And when we repackaged it, the amount of people who were suddenly up in arms as if we hadn't been already doing it for like 16, 17 years, you know, um,
So
it turned into this
bizarre.
big just clusterfuck of what do you mean there's gay shit at the Renaissance Festival? Yes, it's
There's
everywhere.
always gay
We
shit.
like
It
it
doesn't
that
matter what
way.
weekend you go, there's gay shit. And yes,
Yeah.
Felicia, even on Pride Day, like, there were still like, like even at Pride Day, there were people there with their fucking shirts and
Mhm.
flags and American flags and shit all
Oh
over the
yeah,
place.
they
And I'm
felt the
just,
need to protest. It was a whole.
it was just, I just had to chuckle. And also, I'm just gonna say, okay, whatever, do whatever you want to do. Group of folks that were walking around. I think it was on Pride Day. It was either Pride Day or the second weekend that we went. But there was like a group of Vikings there, and these people were walking around. Like the dudes are walking around with no shirt, no shoes. I'm like, y'all look dumb as fuck. You don't look hot. You don't look authentic. You look stupid in your fucking little kilt thing with no shirt and no shoes walking around gravel. Vikings weren't that stupid.
Yeah, typically when we see barefoot walkers at the festival, it's usually if it's not somebody who was told to wear inside and then ditched them later, or it's somebody who is sometimes on something. That's happened a couple times, or one or two instances this year where we had somebody walking around because our performers accidentally shamed them for wearing Crocs to the festival. we a couple of us do this. If we spot if a Renaissance if we spot Crocs, we'll walk up to you and just go, "What are those?" and just answer it quick. Just but what are those? And we'll get everybody in the vicinity to point out like, why the fuck did you wear Crocs out here? And we had one person pick up and throw theirs away, thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna buy some shoes while I'm out here," not realizing we have to do a multi-day appointment to get boots at the festival most of the time. So yeah, don't wear Crocs to Renaissance Festival. We're coming for you. It's
yeah, and Dee said that the like the nerd day, like when the Fan Fusion folks came out, like when that was like the Time Travelers weekend,
the
I think it
time
was,
travel
whatever
weekend.
it was.
Yeah.
Yes, that's one. Like the amount of conservatives that were there, I'm like, okay, y'all obviously don't read the comics and don't know anything about any of these superheroes because they are actually literally against everything that you stand for. But you do you. Go ahead and you wear that Punisher sticker. It's so fucking stupid.
Yeah, man, the number of people, like, it's just
Oh Lord, he hit the button again. Oh wait, there we go.
Oh, you said Punisher sticker, so I just kind of went, damn it, Punisher sticker. Yeah, that's a big one of like you see them everywhere, and if you'd read enough about the comics, Frank Castle is absolutely not a fan of cops. It's time and with time travel, like it's one of our big things when we bring in our friends from like Fan Fusion, where we're supposed to be accepting of everybody and we put on the best show possible by collaborating everything. Like a lot of folks might not know, but the TARDIS that's been outside this year and last year, I built that. that's a part of me and part of my creation team put that together because we needed a new one. And we built it with the idea in mind that, like, again, it's a big symbol, like Doctor Who, especially, being an all-encompassing fandom. Same with Ghostbusters, and we had the Transformers out this time, and we bring in Star Wars and the Avengers, and so many people who don't read like the current content don't actually. They'll come out and they'll think that they can have a right-wing opinion of, oh no, it's Princess Leia, no, it's General Leia. Fucking excuse you. Fandoms are different.
Right. Yeah. It's and everybody, I love the people that are talking about Star Trek. Oh God, Star Trek went woke. I'm sorry. Have you not watched any of Star Trek ever? Ever?
Yeah.
Like, no? Okay, cool. You obviously don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but all right, you do you. Like,
Klingons are more.
It's just I don't know. I just think it's hysterical that these folks are they always make the biggest stink in areas that I'm like, okay, you do realize that there's a whole fuck ton of queers all over the place here, right? You know that, right? Okay, cool. You whatever.
My favorites are the ones that are super right wing, but also want to be history buffs, and like half the crap they say is wrong.
Oh God.
We get those on show days. We get those in the cast too. We'll have and we usually weed those out before show opens. Of course, we always have folks who try and join the cast who will stick their foot in the mouth at a workshop or something and immediately be like, well, everything you just said is wrong, super bigoted, and we don't want you here, and they're gone.
Fucking people, that blows my mind. It just, and at this point, I'm just like, the fuck? I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, oh, hey, Vinny. Vinny hasn't joined us for a minute in watching this. He must have some time on his hands. All right, so we do have a few news headlines. I think everybody knows at this point that Tucker Carlson has been fired from Fox. It's about time. However, we know that it ain't gonna change shit. Fox News will just have somebody else spewing dumb shit. And you know that he's going to go right from there to working for some other right-wing conspiracy slang and news network by like the end of next week. So like it's not going to change anything. Nothing.
The whole thing between the two of them, I was telling somebody earlier, it kind of reminds me a bit of like a bit of House of the Dragon. Like you're watching because everyone else is watching, but by the halfway point of the entire scenario, you're not rooting for anybody, but you're just gonna see how this wraps up. You're just kind of like, don't care, Fox, don't care, Tucker, whatever.
Yeah, I haven't watched House of the Dragon yet.
I watched it.
I finally got through Game of. I watched Game of Thrones for the first time earlier this year and was yelling at it constantly, and then by the end of it I was like, this was so fucking stupid, and I was angry. It made me very angry.
Yeah, I was house sitting for somebody and they had HBO, so I said, screw, I'm gonna see how this is all about, and watched House of the Dragon. There are more fun things to do than watch House of the Dragon, like taxes, change your oil.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
watch
gathering.
Paint dry, grass grow.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll watch it eventually, but it'll probably be like 3 years from now after that, because I don't give a fuck. And in politics, even though his approval ratings are tied for this, he's right up down there with Reagan. Of any president in the last 70 years, Biden has announced his intention to run for re-election in 2024. Maybe he'll actually do something between now and then that'll have folks actually wanting to vote for him again. But also, we can't do another right-wing nut job right now. So it's like...
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, we all said it when he ran this last time. We all said, fine, Biden, but this is bullshit. If it comes down to it, fine, Biden, it's still bullshit.
It is still bullshit. I've said this on this show before, and I'm going to continue to say it, that I am appalled at the fact that there's been complete silence from Washington while all these attacks continue to happen on the drag and trans communities. Yep. And the whole like states' right thing is whole bullshit. And the fact that there are people on the Supreme Court that have openly said that they are for taking people's rights away, but nothing's been like, there's got to be things that can be done. You can't just be like, oh, this person wants to be on the Supreme Court and they've said that they want to take people's rights away. That sounds like a really good idea. No, you don't get to do that. But whatever. Like the fact that there's been nothing. There's been dead silence from everybody over on Capitol Hill.
It's a failure to act by people who genuinely probably could actually do something if they wanted to put in the effort to do something. Instead, they just want to be lazy and see how it plays out.
I'm like, people were all like, yay, look, first black woman vice president. The fuck has she done? She ain't done shit. Nothing. Not one goddamn thing. She hasn't. I haven't seen anything that she's said anything. She hasn't even said it. Like, there's been nothing that, like, VP Harris comes out against this, blah, blah, nothing. Not a goddamn thing.
It's really been kind of a paper presidency overall, which has been a shame.
It's so disappointing. So fucking disappointing. Like, we had 4 years of worrying about what was going to, as far as like civil rights and all this other shit. And we're like, oh, thank God. All right. At least we got Biden in there, maybe with, I mean, he was Obama's VP for 8 fucking years. Like, he should know how to do this by now. No, got nothing. Nothing.
Being completely honest, I feel like half of us that were looking at like the Biden Harris team and seeing that Joe's like 1,000 years old, kind of hoping he was just gonna just gonna die halfway through and let her step up, and but then she hasn't done anything. So
Right.
what did it
And
matter?
that was the other thing too. It's like, all right, well, if he doesn't make it, then Harris will step up, and I was hoping that she'd be more vocal about things, and you'd see some action from her. Like
Deafening silence.
nothing, nothing. Like what the fuck? What the actual fuck? Like I wish they could tell me what the fuck. I wish I could go knock on their door and be like, what the fuck? Because it's just like,
Yeah.
what? It doesn't. I don't know. It's stupid.
But
Part of
I bet you,
interesting.
if, I was gonna say, but I bet you, if one of their kids came out, then it would be an issue.
Doesn't Biden have, or no, it wasn't Biden. Somebody. I feel like somebody has somebody queer in their family. I don't know.
When it goes to their doorstep, then I bet something would happen. But until then, they're content to just stay inside.
Right. Like it's just it's disappointing to say the least. So an interesting piece of news is a little bit more positive. As a part of its Barbie Fashionistas line, Mattel has released the first Barbie that represents people with Down syndrome. The Fashionistas is supposed to offer kids a more sort of diverse representations of beauty. They have a doll with a prosthetic leg. I think that's a Ken doll, actually. There's one with hearing aids, one with a wheelchair, and one with vitiligo. So let's paint the drag cave like a TARDIS, my partner says. Whose drag cave is this? I'm not repainting this. You mean the outside or the inside?
Well, it's bigger on the inside.
Anyway, right. So I thought that was kind of interesting that that Barbie is now starting to be actually sort of more diverse.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I think it was in the 80s, they came out with a Barbie that had a wheelchair, but the wheelchair was actually too big to fit through the door of Barbie's dream house. So instead of redesigning the dream house, they ditched the Barbie.
One of those is easier to do. I like that that apparently actually spoken with medical professionals for frames of reference on these things too, to make them like actually as accurate as possible, which I think is a super like good wholesome initiative to create good recognition for people that have these conditions to feel seen, which is fantastic.
Right, they're not just like, oh, well, this is what we think this is, and
Yeah.
I think the new one with Down syndrome, I believe, actually has leg braces, because I think apparently that's fairly common with folks that have Down syndrome, especially they have the leg braces to help like correct issues there. So it's like it's not just here's this thing in the doll that kind of looks like it has Down syndrome, like they're actually
nobody
cool
nobody eyeballed Down syndrome, which is great because that never ends well.
Right.
And I think there was a model with Down syndrome in London who I think said something about the dolls and was super thrilled that they were like accurate and representing properly.
There is what is it? Have you seen the drag group in the UK called Drag Syndrome?
No, but that sounds amazing.
They're fantastic. I think they were actually at DragCon this year. But all of them, the entire group, they're drag artists, and they all have Down syndrome. And
so cool.
they're fantastic. Like they get out there and
That's
they
super
fucking
supportive.
slay
I like
it.
that.
And I think that like it started like they all went to like a day program or something like that, and one of the organizers of the day program like I don't know if they were watching RuPaul or something, and one of the folks was like, oh, that looks really cool, I'll do that. And they're like, all right, here, let's do it. So the guy who like organizes like the day program like learned how to do some makeup so that he could teach them how to do like it was
That's
yeah, but
cool,
there's like 7 or 8 in the group or something like that. It's fantastic. They're awesome. They're very, very cool.
That's the kind of thing I hope for with on this coming Monday, Gaslight Circus. We have our second show we have a new partnership with the Arizona Rec Center for the Handicapped. That kind of like day program inspiration is something I'm super hoping for with what we do over there, because they deserve as much of a chance as anybody else to get to express themselves. And if they haven't
Right.
found that vehicle yet, this could be it.
And when you say like, they're disabled or handicapped or whatever, like it doesn't mean that people are incapable of doing things. Like I don't.
Yeah,
There's still that weird, like, that sort of stigma, I think, that comes with some things that that automatically, oh well, you were born with this defect or whatever, so it must mean that you are extremely limited. As shut up.
and
And
but the great thing about the circus too is that when you have people that say those things, that's usually where those people thrive with us. I mean, look at you know the long history of sideshow. How many people were
right.
naturally born different or whatever, and they wind up becoming world famous superstars because they come under our wings and get put under huge posters and banners and stuff like that.
We won't
Like
talk about the exploitation that
nope.
used to happen.
No, Greatest Showman was not a true story.
P.T. Barnum.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can appreciate the music, but also read a book.
And that's what I tell people when it came out. I was like, okay, the music is great, fantastic, costumes are amazing,
Yeah.
but also do a little bit of research, because
Yeah.
P.T. Barnum
Like
was not this
when
like,
it
oh my
came out.
god, yay.
Yeah. Like when it came out, Gaslight did a fan night. We rented an auditorium and told fans to come watch the film with us. But afterwards, we also took some time to tell them, okay, this was awesome. This was a cool circus aesthetic, but also this is not how he was. Especially because,
Right.
and even then, like the movie itself even did some exploitive stuff. Like there's actually a scene where they CGI'd a face of an actual working sideshow performer on somebody else that actually has a following, and the sideshow community was extremely up in arms over it. It's that scene where they're wearing a hood and they like give him bread or whatever. That's an
Oh
actual
yeah,
person,
yeah.
and they stole that person's
Yeah.
face for the movie, which was fucking disgusting.
Yeah. See, so you just do a little bit of research when it comes to things.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just be like, oh my god, this is amazing. People say, no, just do a little research, folks. Do a little research.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. What do we have as far as upcoming gigs? What do you have coming up? And Felicia says that you need to share anything that that anything exciting that comes up with like your next gig on Monday, because we'd love to hear about it. If there's any articles written or anything like that, share it. We'll
I'm
totally
hoping
share it
to.
with people, because but yeah, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm hoping it gets a good amount of traction, because it's not like a publicly advertised show. It's not something we like open to the public. It's a reserved show for that rec center. They said they're expecting about 200 kids and adults with disabilities of various kinds to come to the show. We got in touch with them because of one of our performers used to work with them, and they wanted to do a field day, and they called 3 of us to come out, and we were there for I think about an hour and a half, and we had so much fun with these kids. They were extremely passionate, extremely fun to work with. They loved having us there. We were rock stars to them and meant the world to us. And it pulled just enough heartstrings that I was like, what if we just did a whole show for them? Because they had a whole ass stage inside the building that they have. So I talked to them, and I asked them, I said, do circuses or other troops do shows here? And they said, no, they all want money, which is, I mean, I get it. Artists want to eat, stuff like that. But they got me in the right spot. That I told them, I said, I would very much love if you would have Gaslight Circus again, and we want to do a show on your stage, a full tilt Gaslight show for free for your people, because I think they deserve it. So we set that up for Monday. We booked this months ago, and they're super excited to have us all there. So I'm hoping I mean, not for my own ego's sake of like, oh, I want a whole bunch of news and exposure for it, but I actually would like it if the rec center got more attention, so that other artists can, maybe consider donating their time and talent to a crowd that otherwise doesn't get that privilege.
Right. I mean, I get it. Like, yes, as as a drag artist, I also enjoy eating and, being able to invest in costumes and things. But also, like, there are times when it's okay to do things for less. And, like, you don't, like, yes, get paid, but also give back. Like,
and this is what that is. Yeah, and we used to do a show every single year that was a charity show called the Carnival Ball, where we'd give every red cent we made that night to a charity. We haven't done one since COVID, so this is the first one that we've done of these that's kind of in that same spirit. And I'm hoping to make it a recurring event where they bring us back every year. If we do a good enough job and they want to bring us back, I'm more than happy to keep fulfilling it every single time, because it's the right thing to do. The oldest craft a circus performer does is making people happy, and sometimes you do that and not get paid, and that's okay. But that's only
Right.
that's only one show that we have going on. Of course, the next one is one that
But
you also know about because you've got a show that weekend too. Is Fan Fusion. We're both stressed out and busy about that.
I'm not stressed out at all. It's
No,
fine.
can't
Everything
tell.
is fine.
Totally fine. It's totally fine. Yeah, I think we're on the day. No, I think we're on the same day. We're on at 1:30 on Saturday. Are you on Saturday?
No, we're on Friday.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you have at least the whole
Dragster
convention
Friday
to.
night. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because we're on with Wild Geek Magic in one of the northern parts of the building at 1:30. We have a 2-hour slot, which is cool because last year we only got 1 hour. So this year we get to do like a full like circus production, which is like last year we just did a kind of a variety show with some cosplay elements. This time we can tell a whole story. So
Ooh.
getting to play with that whole thing, playing with the idea of having two hosts of the show, myself and one other person, that's probably going to be like Loki or something, and is pulling villainous cosplayers out of the multiverse to perform against Gaslight performers
Oh,
who
that's
are
awesome.
protecting our multiverse with circus bullshit. That's kind of where we're leaning right now.
Well, good. Then you'll have time to come to the drag show and the burlesque show Friday night.
100%, and you can come to Geek Magic.
What time is it on Saturday?
1:30.
1:30. Okay, perfect.
1:30. There you go.
Because I have drag story hour from noon until.
Oh, perfect. You can come straight down from there.
Sounds good.
And
I'm all about that.
Yeah. And the other one we have is also on Fan Fusion. It's not a circus gig, but it's a gig that we all do. We're also in charge of the roasts at Fan Fusion, so it's not so much a circus gig, but it's us saying all the things in public you want to be able to say. But we've been given the clearance to do so for just 1 hour.
That's fantastic.
And so we're roasting Boba Fett this year.
Good. That's that. Yeah. That'll be. Yeah. That should be fun. That should
we
be
have
very
lots
fun.
of material.
Oh God, I bet you do. Jesus. My partner says that she actually met you years ago at Alwyn House, and she's bartended some of your shows.
Yeah, I think I remember too. Yeah, because Alwyn House is where I got my start really doing full blown circus. Because I used to perform with a sideshow that shall not be named because I'd rather hang myself than give them publicity. Then there was joining the Painproof Punks. I helped create them. There's like 7 of us at the time. Then after that, I kind of went off on my own and went to more of an all ages platform with Gaslight Circus. And I've maintained a really cool relationship with Alwyn House through all of those shows, all 3 of those eras of my life as an artist. And Kim and Day and I are super cool people that had to create that super unique space in like downtown Phoenix. We were there last November with the last show that I wrote, which was a Zorro parody called The Masked Clown, which was a complete swashbuckling sword parody. Almost stabbed my husband, who was the masked clown. I was the villain. Some of the sword play didn't. It was good. We rehearsed it, but there was a segment where I'm running at him, and if you've been to Alwyn House, you know they have those big metal scaffolding on the sides of the stage. I run full tilt at that, and he almost misses a beat, and he moves over out of the way right as I go right through, kind of almost see it skim his coat, and I missed this. I was trying to stab through the scaffolding of the stage to get like my hand caught or something just for theatrics, and the sword hits the entire scaffolding, and the whole thing just bends completely. The whole it's a fencing blade, and I'm sitting there going, "Don't break, don't break, don't break." And I pull it back, and it's fine, but I turn around and he's staring at me, just going, "You just fucking almost stabbed me. What the hell are you doing?" We're talking about this later.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I need to get back into fire. I haven't done with fire in years, and I don't know why. I'm like, I need to replace torch doing stuff with fire again because why not?
It kind of comes and goes. I've noticed. Yeah, yeah. There's loads of
like,
platforms,
and not for any other reason. Just It's like to have one, like some of those skills that you keep in your back pocket. It's like, oh
Oh yeah,
yeah, I do
yeah,
drag. I can do some stilt things. I can do fire. I can do, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. You're like, yeah, no,
yeah.
it's like, yeah.
Yeah, it's like my bread and butter is
Like I
magic
need.
and juggling, but I maintain being able to sing just in case I need it.
I can't juggle for shit. I have tried to juggle. I can do. I try to juggle, and it either lands on me or just my hands don't do the thing. I'm like, okay, juggling is not my gig.
It's not for everybody. Some folks get it, some folks don't. You know, I was super motivated when I was learning how to juggle because I had a pit bull at the time, and I knew if I dropped something, I wasn't getting it back. So that was my whole training program:
Fair,
was don't drop it because you're never going to see that again.
fair. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's see, what have I got coming up? May 4th, is bingo that is supporting Story Hour at Drink Me Tea Room. I will repost the ticket link for that both on my Facebook and on the Fefe Facebook. It should be a good time. It is 18 and over, so no kids. And it's May the 4th, so I'm hoping people will show up in like some sort of weird mashup of Stars and Wonderland. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. I'm not entirely sure yet if I can. We shall see. Depending, because it's like a week away and my brain is about so. But I believe tickets are like $25, but it goes back to Drag Story Hour, which is a good organization. And also we've got Drag Story Hour happening both on Friday and Saturday at noon at Fan Fusion. The Drag Story Hour on Friday, like a fantasy / fairy tale theme, and then Saturday it is like a sci-fi theme. So that should be fun. If you are at Fan Fusion Friday and Saturday, come listen, bring your little ones. It's all ages. We're not going to be like, oh, it's just for kids or whatever. It's all ages. Bring your people, bring your littles, bring your not so littles. Just come and listen to a story because it'll be fun. And then of course the Friday of Fan Fusion, which I believe is June 2nd, is the drag show that is happening that evening. And then immediately after the drag show is the burlesque show. I am co-producing and performing in the drag show, and then I am emceeing the burlesque show. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Just
Everything
lean
is
on
fine.
your co-producer because he'll love that.
The reason I decided to help him was because the poor guy was at his wit's end last year. I'm like, no,
Yeah,
I
no,
got you.
we
Like,
love him though. Yeah,
we
hung out
do.
with him
No, we
yesterday.
do.
Yeah.
No, we do. We definitely do. But last year it was like, I'm watching some of the things that happen, and I'm like, all right, Guido, I'm gonna help you because number one, you're too nice, and number
It's a good
two,
quality of his though. Sometimes
it is not when it comes to dealing with drag performers.
mm-hmm.
You need to be able to be like, no, music is due this date, and if you don't get it to me by this date, I'm going to cut your number. If you show up late to the show, you're not going on. Period. You don't get to disrespect everybody else's time and expect no consequences. That's not going to happen. So, like, no. So I was like, all right. But so far, so good. I'm like, I'm not worried much. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
It'll be fine.
he had great things to say yesterday. The Renaissance Festival gave me baseball tickets. I'm not a huge baseball fan, but they were like in that pool area by Chase Field, and I've never been in there. So I was like, I texted Guido and some others, and I was like, y'all want to go to like the richest part of the bougie part of the baseball stadium, just loiter and talk about con? And that's all we did. Was we just sat there. We're like not paying attention to the game at all, just eating all their food, drinking all their booze, and talking about con.
That sounds about right. Yeah. The only time I get involved in baseball is if like the Cubs, or if I happen to be at the field, I will be yelling at the umpires the whole time. But yeah. Let's see. Upcoming guess. Oh, Felicia didn't change the name, and it still sounds like Christian vibrant voices. It still sounds like something. I don't know what it is. The upcoming guests on May 10th, we have somebody who, according to the show sheet, still sounds like a Christian band. No idea who it is. It'll be fine. Somebody. I'm sure it's very, very exciting. Super exciting. No idea. Oh, looks like we are already 5 minutes over. Thank you all for joining the conversation tonight. And thank you for Jero the Jester for coming on and guest hosting with me. I appreciate you.
Happy to do
Thank you
it.
for the conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you for jumping in and throwing in your 2 cents
Yeah.
and conversing. We like it when folks, come in and actually talk. We enjoy that.
Yeah, and I
We
mean,
enjoy
and
that.
at some
I'm
point,
not talking shit about your guest. It
Ooh.
sounds like a Christian band because it says Christian Vibrant and Vibrant Voices.
and
It
it's
sounds religious.
yeah, and at some point, I mean, beyond just sharing screens, at some point, I think folks would be pretty stoked if we shared a stage at some point. I think.
I'd be here for it. I
Yep.
think we can make that happen
think
at
so
some
too.
point. Totally think we can make that happen.
Probably.
I'm so here for it. So
Yep.
here for it. Abso-fucking-lutely. Make sure that y'all go find Jero on all the social medias. Follow him, all of his escapades. Go find him at Fan Fusion. Go find him at the Ren Fair next year. Hella good entertainer. Yes, I did just say hella. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you to all of you who watched us live tonight, and of course the folks that are watching us on the replay. And we've got what are your socials?
Well, you can just find me at Clown Prince AZ on pretty much most social media platforms or gaslightcircus.com.
Clown Prince AZ. Clown Prince AZ. Go find Clown. We'll post it on the Fefe page.
We'll find it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And with more than 10,000 downloads, thank y'all for listening to the podcast. It's handy sometimes being able to listen and not have to deal with all the mess. We appreciate you. And we will see you next week for your Wednesday night conversation. I actually believe that Felicia will be back next week. If not, then I'll be looking for another guest host. But I think that she will be back. Hopefully anyway. Hopefully she's been able to enjoy her month off and do the life stuff that sometimes is necessary to do. So we will catch everybody next week, and good night.